Have you thought about governance? Are we having it 100% or we're just having a fraction of it? Have Nigerians been taken for granted? Who has been disappointed? Who is happy about the situation? We need to talk about all of this. So this morning, we will be looking at the state of the nation. Politicking and governance in Nigeria is going to be our focus. And of course, we have a political philosopher and a public affairs analyst joining us on the program this morning in the person of Ikenga Prince Ezemo. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning, Ikenga.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
Well, the moment I saw your cap, I saw Ikenga. I said, well, this is a signature. Yeah. Well, I think Nigerians, sometimes we just need to be at peace with ourselves, make ourselves happy all the time because of there's so many things going on in the polity. But now, so far so good. This is 2025, all right? What's your assessment of governance in Nigeria right now? Talking about this administration, what's your assessment of this administration?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. You know, you can't successfully discuss this current administration without, you know, a little bit flashback on the administration, the immediate past administration before this one, you know. Towards the build-up of 2015, there was this clamor for change. That Jonathan has destroyed Nigeria, corruption has eaten deep, corruption has destroyed the fabrics of this country and all whatnot. You know, it was simply a case of politicians gathering just to seize power. And eventually, they succeeded thanks to the nature of Jonathan's type of politicking. He allowed them, they seized power. And for the 8 years of General Buhari's administration, we saw indeed what corruption could be in the highest magnitude of it. It was in that administration you saw monkeys swallowing money, you saw snakes scattering millions and all whatnot. And eventually it became far worse than what we experienced under President Jonathan. And to worsen the matter, each time the president is accosted, he will tell you, I am not aware. And he continued not to be aware until he left government, until expiration of his 8 years. So when this current government came, under the same platform, the APC, despite the fact that we saw what happened in that 2023 election, in fact, from the body language of the former president, you knew that he was never in support of this president to come on board. You know, because of the way Nigeria is balkanized in the line of religion, tribe, and all that, everybody works for the interests of his tribe. It will not matter to anybody if a particular tribe perpetuate themselves forever in government. It does not matter to Nigerians, and many people don't even discuss efficiency and effective governance. All we know is my townsman is there, my tribal man is there, this person is from my religion and all that. And over the years, it has really destroyed what democracy should be in this country. Now, as far as this government is in place, I can tell you there were a couple of wrong choices he might have made, and also there were a lot of good choices he has made. But the point is that, judging from where we are coming from, it may not be very easy to get it right within these 2 years. But one fundamental thing is this: when we should be discussing governance, then we should be discussing the welfare of Nigerians. Politicians are talking about the next election, as we currently have. You see that most things they are doing now, all of them within the corridors of power, is all about 2027. People have gradually drifted away from the welfare of Nigeria. I tell you, Nigerians are suffering. From where I live in this Abuja to your office, you know, and maybe possibly to go back or run 1 or 2 errands in town before I go back will take me 20,000 naira to fuel my vehicle. So you can imagine a situation where one fuels his car at the tune of 20,000 naira every day. As a civil servant, how much is my salary? You know, even some public servants and other businessmen, how much do they make daily to be spending that kind of money just on fuel? So the living standard in Nigeria now is exceedingly high. And it palpitates my heart that the politicians are not even discussing it. The governors are not talking about it. Those in the presidency are even shut out of the realities of today's Nigeria. Everybody is talking about 2027, and it's very, very unfortunate.
It's very, very unfortunate that everyone is talking about 2027. That's one of the things that we will be looking at today. Governing the people, the state of governance in Nigeria, and politicking. But now, as it is right now, you've made some very valid points. Let's get to this administration right now. So many things. People are politicking instead of governance. The people are being left out. It's as if the politicians are in a different world and the people are in a different world altogether. Exactly. What do you think? Is there anything that can be done, all right, to bring these people's consciousness to the fact that they are actually in office, all right, to govern the people, to cater for the people? And not because someone says something, they said the average politician, the first day they get into office, that day they start planning for the next election.
Exactly.
Which is not what democracy is all about. Exactly. So how did we get here?
We have a fundamental problem in Nigeria. Just like I said, there is this concept of our thief, my thief. If you are from my village and you find yourself in Abuja within any office, I don't care what you do there as long as you are bringing the so-called goodies from Abuja down to me and to the rest of our people. You see, for instance, I tell you, if a southerner, let me use the word a southerner, was the president of Nigeria between 2015 to 2023, Nigeria would have, it would have been terrible. I tell a lot of people who are agitating today, why are you agitating? Because the man there is not your thief, unquote. Is that the reason why because when you look at a couple of politicians and even the masses that are agitating and all that, you see that they are agitating not because of the fact that all of us are hungry in Nigeria, but because the person there is not from their own tribe or their own religion and stuff like that, which is very unfortunate. Look, it is even very difficult to get Nigerians who are the employers of this politician to sack them. You know why? Politicians in Nigeria have weaponized poverty. That is one. Secondly, they have always used tribe and religion to divide the masses, so that we don't think, religion is an opium of the masses, according to Karl Marx, and it's true. Then when you add tribal sentiment to it, it worsens the matter. So it becomes very difficult for the masses to come together and take a decision. It's not about, you see, Asuwaju may not be doing so badly, but when you look at people around him, who are those people around him? Because that's one of the worst things that could happen to a leader, when you have the wrong people around you and they will giving you all sorts of rubbish advice, and everybody is thinking for his own good. And most times the man at the helm of affairs, like I said before, is completely shut out of the reality of his environment. He doesn't even know a couple of things happening in that villa, let alone the entire Nigeria. And you have people who will always come every morning to tell you, no, everything is, you allow them to rant, everything is well, and stuff like that. I keep getting it all wrong and wrong and wrong. I think, to answer your question, Nigerians should shun tribal sentiment. Where we are today is far below where we are supposed to be as a nation. it's unfortunate that sometimes when we travel out of the country, not even in Europe, America, some African countries, you begin to ask yourself, why are we here? And most of those African countries don't even have up to 15 to 20% of natural resources God has blessed this country with. Yet you see millions of out of school children, poverty line is above the belt and all whatnot. So I think the masses should understand that they are the employers of Nigerian politicians. They should stop allowing themselves to be divided on within the line of religion and tribe. And then again, they should rise above their poverty line. They should liberate their mind. Mental emancipation is very, very important at this time. It's not about stomach infrastructure and all that. Emancipate your mental process and understand that you have what it takes to sack any politician. Our politicians behave the way they behave because of our complacent nature towards politics.
The complacency is as a result of poverty. Like you said, they've weaponized poverty, and a poor man, a hungry man, first of all, go for the food first before they even think about any other thing. I was thinking while you were talking, how do we conscientize these people? Because majority of this problem starts from the grassroots. Some youths are being used as thugs, to help these politicians get into office, after which they won't even remember them. Some of them get on the street with the weapons that they were given to help them get power. Exactly. And that has resulted to insecurity, as some persons have actually alleged. Now, this morning on the Daily Trust newspaper, Baba Ahmed was telling the president that he should allow a younger person, all right, to rule this country. How do we achieve all of this? Number one, conscientizing the people, and number two, getting a younger person to run.
Well, I tell you in all honesty, I'm a young man. I want to see a president that is even under 40. But I can tell you categorically, it's not about the age. It's not about age. The immediate past governor of Kogi State became governor at 30-something. And
that's Yahaya Bello.
Yahaya Bello. And he has been adjudged to be almost the worst governor in his era. So, and he was the youngest governor in his era too. So it's not about the age. It's about somebody's mental process. It's about awareness. How aware are you in this 21st century? For instance, Trump is an old man, right? But you see that he's a man who is very much his will are strong towards achieving whatever he wanted to achieve for America, irrespective of your opinion. So what we need is, one, there is need, I have always said, there is need to restructure Nigeria. And that will start from a very intentional constitutional amendment. The constitution we are using currently in Nigeria is not the best of it. A constitution that gives all the powers in the world to the governor, all the powers in the world to the president, can never be people-oriented constitution. And that is why we keep getting it wrong. Even the National Assembly, there is a limit to what they can do because of the bottleneck the constitution has provided. There is need for us to go into serious constitutional amendment. Jonathan wanted to do it. He has the intention, but the political will was not there. At a time, he convoked national conference. They gave him a recommendation. He was too weak to implement the recommendation of that confab. And when General Buhari came in, he said that the recommendations of that confab belong to the archive. Because he has seen that if the recommendations of that confab are implemented, Nigerians will be liberated. So we need a constitutional amendment so that we begin to don't forget that this constitution we are using now was written by the military in their room. Dr. John Nyangodo, who was Minister of Information during Abacha's time, sorry, not even Abacha, Abdul Salam, has come out to tell us that even as a Minister of Information, he didn't see the constitution. General Obasanjo was sworn in 1999 without a constitution. It it is on record. It was after they have sworn in, they now started looking for, okay, where is that document and all that. They now found a way and brought it out and then imposed it on Nigerians. So these are the issues. We must get back to the rudiment. We must get back to the foundation. If we don't get the constitution of Nigeria right, I tell you, we continue to marrow. When the Kogi people were trying to, this Natasha stuff in Kogi about recalling her, I told somebody that even if Asewaju is involved in recalling Natasha, it will not work, because Constitution made it in a way that you can never recall a senator or a House of a Rep member. You can never. There's no how you can succeed the processes and recall. It's not even possible. Even Dino Gulaye, remember that they did the same thing to Dino. Even when Dino was in detention, he wasn't even outside to fight for himself, but they couldn't recall him. That is the kind of country we are running. So we need to go back to the foundation. The foundation of this country is faulty. We need to get the constitution right, then get all these components of democracy right, then begin to look at cutting cost of governance in the real sense of it, not just to be playing lip service. I tell somebody, I think it's even in this station I've said, Nigeria does not need a bicameral legislature. What is it for? What are the 360 something people doing in the House of Reps? What are they doing there? And there's no law they make there that will not even go to the Senate for concurrence. So what are they actually doing there? You see that it's all about wastages. People come every year, will buy cars worth billions for them, make sure that they are comfortable at the expense of the entire masses. At the end of the day, they did best to nothing for them, for this country. So there's need to scrape out House of Reps. I keep saying it, there's absolutely nothing that chamber is serving. They are not serving any good for this country.
All right, Ikenga, let me come in at this point now. I think you've made some very valid points. The issue of the Constitution, constituting all the powers in the hands of people in governance, making some things very practically impossible. Now, we're talking about politicking and governance. Don't you think coalition could do something in this administration? Because we've heard of coalition. APC actually came into power as a result of coalition. The CPC, the AC, and the rest of them are coming together to form APC and all of that. Now there is a rumor of coalition which is being fronted by the former presidential candidate for the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. Even though the PDP is having a number of factions right now, then we also have partially the Labour Party's man, one leg in right now, because it has not been completely declared that is part of the coalition. Then El-Rufai, of course, he has left the APC to SDP, and I attended a press conference where they said concerned political leaders holding that conference to say categorically that what is happening in Nigeria is not it, that they are forming a coalition to take over power, to make things right. One of the problems that Nigerians are actually thinking about is the recycling of the same people from one party to the other, to form coalition. Now, how powerful do you think this coalition could be? Will this coalition be able to unseat APC in 2027, looking at the mass exodus that we are having right now? Remember, in Delta State, the governor and all his cabinets have defected to the All Progressive Congress. Okowa himself, the former vice presidential candidate to Atiku himself, to the All Progressive Congress, and many still warming up. We don't know what's going to happen in Rivers State yet. Looking at all of this, where is the place of governance in Nigeria, and where is the place of coalition?
To answer your question straight, the coalition is dead on arrival. One, my thought though, but I know that agenda has died even before it started. One, why are they coming together? Is it for the interest and good of Nigerians, or for their own betterment? Like you rightly said, they're just trying to look for a way to recycle themselves again within the corridors of power. These guys are not interested in our welfare. If they were interested in our welfare, would have heard people like Erufai shout and tell us why there was unquantifiable level of banditry, killing, kidnapping, whatever during General Buhari's time. He never said anything. The only thing he was able to tell us that sometimes he would call the terrorists and then plead with them and compensate them.
Meaning they are known.
As a governor.
Meaning they are not government. Meaning they are
very much known. You can imagine a governor telling the world that you call these guys to negotiate with them, compensate them and all that, and they never even stopped. The case of Southern Kaduna will be fresh in the memories of Nigeria till the end of time. And you were the governor. So what now are you coming to do? What is it that you think that even Asiwaju is not doing right? That you were able to do well as a governor and then the closest man to General Buhari? So, even Atiku, what award did he say during General Buhari's time? Because he was hoping to replace him. Now it didn't work. And we are seeing that certainly he may not even become president again, because as God may have it, he's not getting younger, he's getting older. And you can't cheat nature, no matter the amount of money you have. So the coalition, I know, will die before it starts. And again, why I said so is that Asiwaju himself is a political jagaban. Look at what is happening. Nigeria is gradually drifting towards a single party nation. As of today, I think APC has 21 governors who are either 21 or 22 who are full-fledged members of the APC. But I tell you, all the governors in Nigeria are apostles of Asiwaju. Name any governor that is not in APC today. And I will tell you, it's even closer to Asiwaju than the APC governors. Is it the Soludo in my state? It's an APC man. Soludo is the 100% APC governor. Is it Shirima Kande in Oyo? Is it Peter Mbai in Enugu? Fubara is 80% APC now. I know that once he comes back, he's moving to APC. Otherwise, they will bulldoze him out of the government house. So which guy is it? LSOT in Abia, who by all standard is doing well? Yes, but he's an APC governor. Forget this party. Asiwaju has a way of doing his own thing, and it's working for him. And now that it is evidently clear that some elements in the north are trying to organize the north against him, you want to get the entire south in one basket. And from what we are seeing, okay, look at the defection that happened yesterday in Delta. Governor and the entire PDP structure in Delta, not just the governor or Okowa, both from the state party chairman of the PDP to the least person said, you see, they said on Monday they will make official pronouncement. So it's not even a governor 10. That tells you that somebody somewhere is putting a whole lot of work into all this. Is it the Inamo of Akwa Ibom who said nobody should come close to pick APC presidential ticket, that Asiwaju should be allowed to complete? He said it long time ago. And again, you know, so there is no, we are currently in one party state. And I don't have a problem with that. My only problem is, let it be for the good of Nigerians. If they will all be in one party and get it right, we'll get back to the era where we buy fuel 65 naira. We'll get back to the era where we buy a bag of rice for 10,000 naira. Who cares who is in which party? Who cares even Asiwaju will appoint everybody in his family in the government? As long as they are doing the right thing, Nigerians will not care who is in government, who is appointed minister, who appointed chairman or DG. Nobody cares about all those things, apart from politicians who wants to occupy those positions. But the masses just want to be free from hunger and have, the element of democracy provided to them.
All right. Well, our time is fast spent, but then we need to look at that. He said the coalition is dead on arrival. All right. Let's look at the area of playing politics with everything in Nigeria. Remember, we're talking about governance. Look, can you remember when Dangote Refinery was being announced to Nigerians? There were a shout of joy that Suko have returned, because the problem we had before now is exporting this crude, refining it, and importing it back to Nigeria. But now that we have a refinery that can service Nigerians in Nigeria, spending that money will not be that much anymore. And there was a lot of politicking. Today you hear a rise, you hear a reduction, you hear he's no longer getting crude, he's importing crude. Why we have crude here? So many things. Then you hear, well, he's taking fuel jets to other countries, or maybe so many things. You hear NNPC saying, we want to be in charge, we want to do this. Why are we having to play politics with everything? People speaking with one part of their mouth different things and doing a different thing altogether in Nigeria. How, in your own opinion, what is responsible for this, and how can that be tackled?
It is very unfortunate. Like I said, tribe, religion destroys Nigeria. It is very fundamental. For instance, ask yourself, we have crude in Niger Delta. Then very recently, there was a discovery in Anambra. Of course, some part of Imo have always been Niger Delta, so there will be no you there. Now, why is it that you have a refinery in Kaduna for a crude that is in Niger Delta? Even this Dangote refinery, why should it be located in Lagos and not somewhere in Niger Delta? You know, it is a common, an elementary knowledge that when you want to start a business and you do your feasibility studies and all that, you'll be close to your commodity. Is that not? Yeah. That's what we are taught in fundamental economics.
Yeah.
You have to be close. Your production plan should be close to
proximity to raw
material. Thank you very much. So what is taking me back to exactly? So what is the rationale behind having refinery in Kaduna, you know, as government's own refinery this time, that for a commodity that is in Niger Delta? So you have to take a whole lot of money to even transport it from the way it is deposited to where you want it to be refined. Now, coming to your question, it's a logic that defied common sense, that you get oil from Brazil into Nigeria. I mean, refined products from Brazil to Nigeria. Then it will be far cheaper than the one that is refined in Lagos. People have tried to explain why it should be so, but my little common sense has not allowed me to comprehend that. Like you rightly said, when Dangote was building their refinery, though many people were saying that it may not serve the interests of Nigerians in that sense, because you look at what happened to cement, look at what happened to sugar. That will tell you what may likely happen in the petroleum sector. Because as a small boy, I know a bag of cement I used to be 1,000 naira, even below 1,000 at a time, 1,000 at a time, 1,000 something. Then you have Ibeto and the rest. At the time, we only had Dangote. And a bag of cement, in fact, for you to build a house now, is somehow. Now, the same thing is playing out in the petroleum sector. What is the rationale behind petroleum products that are refined in Brazil being far cheaper in Nigeria than the one refined in Lagos? And do not forget, you transport the crude from Niger Delta to Lagos, then refine it, then bring it then dispense it. It's far cheaper than importing from Brazil. Well, one of your friends, I don't know whether he's your friend, Deji. I heard Deji sometimes saying that It is so because our major politicians have shares. So before you sell a liter of petroleum, you must capture their various interests in 1 liter. So all of us are paying for the well-being of Nigerian politicians. So the ones they steal when they are in corridors of power is not enough. They make sure that they have insurance in all these big companies, so that forever and ever they will be swimming in affluence and wealth.
All right. Well, as it is right now, time is not on our side, but justice has been done. We're looking at the state of the nation, politicking and governance in Nigeria. I don't know, but the interest of the people is what is paramount right now. We've had with us all the while Ikenga Prince Ezemo. He is a political philosopher and a public affairs analyst. So many thanks for joining us on the program today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.